Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Krishna Noha, and I am a member of the Epsilon Gamma Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. At this point in our program, we are going to move towards a performance in the art of the spoken word. The man that I have the honor in introducing to you today is a young professional here of the city of Boston, an aspiring artist and author. If you are not already familiar with him, I'd urge you to become more familiar with him. It is my joy to present to you Mr. Osamase Ekhator.
Thank you, Christian. And hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here with you all today. I want to say thank you to the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated for bringing me here today. And I have a couple of poems, in honor of Dr. King. Of course, we know Dr. King was a dreamer. And so the theme of my poems today is about dreams. But before I get there, I want to start off with a dedication. Okay, so my first poem is called Dedication. To my brothers who are mentally and physically in the pen, these poems were written with the ink you bled. Hold on to your innocence, because in a sense, that sentence will only last one period of your life. And life after that is not life after death. For you, small problems are no biggie. 2 pockets full of money is what we all want. But a mind full of resiliency is what we need. So I repeat, to my brothers who are mentally and physically in the pen, these poems were written with the ink you bled. The government may have our brothers locked up, but I promise you this generation will be led by our mothers and our sisters. To my sisters, you are precious, you are strong, you are everything they once said was wrong. But now look at them, all trying to belong. With your hair, with your words, with your shape, with every trait that God gave when she looked in the mirror and said, ooh, I slay. Let me put a piece of me on earth today in the form of Black and brown women. You see, my mother always told me that we are the blessed children. Thus, the birth of my nation came from the womb of a Black woman, but the birth of their nation came from the tomb of a Black man. Dedication. And so I know that last poem ended on a grim note, but to brighten up the mood, I would be remiss to ignore the change that we've had as a country over the years. For example, my favorite poet is Langston Hughes, and he once wrote a poem called Dream Deferred. Okay, and it starts off with, what happens when a dream is deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? And I won't go through the whole poem. I'm sure you could find it online. I'm sure that most of us had to read it in high school. But the point of that poem is, it questions what happens when your dreams are postponed. And he wrote that poem years ago, but I think now we don't have many things in our way. I think the new challenge is there are so many dreams out there now. How do we know which dreams are the right ones for us, right? We have social media. There's people we see on there that we think we may want to be like them, but maybe that's not the case. We don't know. And so that becomes a new challenge. What happens when you have to decide which dream should be preferred, okay? So that leads me to my next poem called Dreams Preferred. We went from asking what happens when your dreams are deferred to now asking which dream should be preferred. I mean, would you rather be the guy you see on TV with the icy chain model to his side driving the Maserati? Or would you rather be the person who leads the family tree of our generational seeds? I mean, the same seeds that were planted by our leaders before you could breathe, before your parents got together and their love was conceived, before deceit was the biggest celebrity on our phone screens. I used to think that I would make it to the NBA and set screens and picks, until I realized when the draft came, I wouldn't be the first pick. Until I realized that I wouldn't be the last pick. Until I realized that I wasn't even the pick of the litter. Until I realized that the only glimmer of hope that I had to becoming successful or having cash was to be a rapper or act, because I didn't have any of the role models. They say that our generation lacks leaders. That our generation doesn't have a Martin Luther King Jr. or a Malcolm X or a Huey P. Newton or an Angela Davis or a James Baldwin. Well, in America, excuse my French, that's BS, because those leaders still live within us. Thus, we can be the leaders we aspire to be. We can be the professionals we didn't get to see growing up. And yeah, maybe we don't get an hour-long documentary. Maybe we don't get a holiday in our name. None of that matters as long as we change the world for those who come after. You see, our leaders planted a seed, but we have a chance to help grow those trees. And the fruits of our labor will help these young Black boys and girls see that they don't have to limit themselves to the same 1 or 2 dreams. that they don't have to ask what happens when a dream is deferred, that they know the answer to which dream should be preferred because there is no right or wrong answer as long as they raise their hands, as long as they use their voices, as long as they know when it comes to dreams, they have choices. Dreams preferred. And so the one of the points I was trying to drive in that last poem was the importance of us continuing the work of our forefathers, okay? And just to take you back, I remember when I was graduating from Boston College, my senior year, I was about to enter the workforce for the first time, corporate America, and I actually had the pleasure of speaking to Jesse Jackson. And I asked Reverend Jackson, how do we continue to push forward Dr. King's dream as we enter the corporate America and more white spaces? Well, he told me three things. He said to always continue dialogue, to speak up, and create the change that you want to see around your company, create that within your own teams, okay? And I actually had the opportunity to do that at Citizens Bank, where I work at, where after the death of Mr. Floyd, there was a white silence in my workspace. Okay, my coworkers wanted to talk about their dogs. They wanted to talk about something that happened at a grocery store instead of talking about the murder we all just saw on TV. And so to break that silence, I actually created a book club called, based on the book White Fragility with my manager. And it was great. It was a great opportunity for us to all kind of educate ourselves, have these discussions of race and really grow as individuals, but also as a team. Okay, and that led to a bunch of other things after. It led to the Citizens Minority Scholarship after, and so many other things. And so the point of that is that, by just simply creating something like a book club, it actually could create some change within your workspace, and I encourage all of us to do so, okay? And inspired by all those events, I then wrote my next poem, which I did perform to my team, and somehow, I don't know how, but the CEO of Citizens Bank actually heard my poem and then spread it out to the entire company. So I wanted to share it all with you today, and that poem is called The Future. Last year was a reality check, where every time we checked our phones, it felt like we were watching the next episode of What's Wrong in the World Today, where we had to learn how to stay not only at home, but stay deep down just okay. Where we had to say that we've seen enough, even though turning off the TV seemed too tough when things got rough, when we could no longer meet our own expectations, when we had to learn that every win was not followed up with a congratulations, and more importantly, every loss cannot be blamed on our own lack of direction. You see, we had to remember that we are still capable of reaching unmapped destinations with our drive for success. The stress of these dark roads can't overshadow our journeys. When we finally find the buttons inside to turn our lights on, we will see every pothole. And instead of avoiding them, we will fill them with concrete hope, tangible goals, and golden codes. And I know, yes, multiple times last year that we may feel like we were divided. And yeah, that might be the case, but we'll be okay. As long as we remember that at the end of the day, we equal one family, sharing the same roof under God, sharing the same kitchen where food for thought can be cooked, seasoned with wisdom, and then brought to the once broken table of mutual respect. I expect nothing less of greatness for myself and you. And greatness is when our one dream of equality, equity, and empowerment can be felt by more than two, more than three, more than an entire company, more than an entire country, where dreams always become reality. The future. So that concludes my performance. Once again, I want to say thank you to all for having me. It is a pleasure, and thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your evening.